What's going on, everyone? Paul Adonis Maximus here. Today we want to look at a brand new update from Midjourney, which is their version 8.2. If you may not know, but can clearly see from the screen here, Midjourney is something that stands out from all other image generators because they just have an aesthetic that you cannot achieve anywhere else. In fact, that is the reason there are a lot of LoRAs that mimic the look of Midjourney, because they want to be able to achieve that Midjourney look with any image generator that they use. And we're going to see if this new update continues to keep Midjourney at the forefront of being the most cinematic, the most aesthetically pleasing AI image generator on the market. So again, what we're going to be doing is taking a look at version 8.2. I'm going to show you how to get up and running setting this up, because you do have to do some work on the front end in order to be able to get the full experience of this model. I'm also going to show you how to prompt for Midjourney, because some of you in the comments have said that Midjourney is a bit intimidating for you. And we're going to look at some of the updates that you may have missed that makes the Midjourney creation experience a lot more robust. So as always, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and let's jump into the video right now. Okay guys, so the first update we're going to cover is the V8.2 image model that Midjourney just released a few days ago. They say this update focuses on aesthetics and image quality and personalization. Images should be more creative, bold, sophisticated, edgy, and fresh. Random situations where you'd get a low quality image should be dramatically reduced. Personalization will understand your personal taste much better, especially if you have a ton of ratings under your profile. So again, the way this works is the more ratings that you do when you're going through this personalization step, which I'll walk through a bit in this video, because what personalization is you're helping Midjourney to understand your style, your taste, what you deem as aesthetically pleasing. That's what personalization does. Basically, the more ratings you give it, the more the AI is going to understand your personal taste. And it says creating personalization profiles for version 8.2 now has a much larger and improved pool of images to choose from. So basically, they're saying they're giving you better quality images when you're going through that personalization step, which should make your generations look more aesthetically pleasing overall and match more closely to what you were after. And again, I'm pulling this information from their Discord server. And of course, what we're interested here on this channel is actually doing our own testing to see if their new AI image model actually does what they say it does. And as I mentioned previously, if you show up to Midjourney, you're going to see this little banner right here. At least that's what it's showing for me. It says V8 personalization is now live. Create a profile to teach Midjourney your taste. And this is what I want to point out. If you see right here, this is a generation that I ran just testing things out initially, and it says profile global V7 profile. So even though this is version 8.2, it's pulling from the global profile I created under version 7. And what I'm going to want to do is update this for version 8. I'll do some of that with you just to show you what this process looks like, but let's go ahead and click on create your profile. And interestingly, this is what their personalization process looks like now. If you may have seen some of my older Midjourney videos, you'll see that it's like a photo on the left and a photo on the right. You would select either the one on the left or the right, or you'd skip it, and then as you did that, you'd progress through it. But let's see how this is going to work under their new system. Does this allow me to make any changes to the title? Maybe not until actually I complete everything, but I would obviously want this to say Midjourney profile V8 or something instead of some generic personal profile number 6. But let's say I like this, I like this, this is cool, this has a cinematic look to it, that looks good, this looks good. And as you can see, I'm progressing through this a little bit faster. As I said in the past, I think it was like, 100 to 200 images to initially get started, but let's see what this says. Okay, there's no info button for me to click. What is it saying? 4 columns. Okay, so you can change how this looks if you want to get more images in the window. I like this because it gives me a bigger view of what's going on. And guys, there are some different ways to do this personalization stuff. There's the thinking that if you only wanted something that looked cinematic like this and you wanted the entire profile to look like that, you would avoid other images and try to only get images that look something like this. But I'm not going to worry about it at this point. All of the profiles that I've made in the past have worked out pretty well, so I don't know that you go through all that. Maybe that's something you may want to explore on your own. I'm just going to go through here because it doesn't look like it's going to take a long time for this to maybe get completed. So I'm just going to click on some things that I like and try to complete this just so that I can get it set up, something like this. And again, as you see me doing this, you can see the progress bar. And what I'm also trying to do is avoid any images that kind of look weird. Like if you saw this image back here, like this guy's arm is wrapped around, know, his shoulder on the opposite side, it looks like. So that's weird, and you probably want to avoid images like that. That's crazy. I don't want anything like that. And so I also want to make sure that I get some realistic faces, because that's going to be important, I believe, in terms of having a good data set. Maybe some landscapes. I'm not going to do too much on the illustration side, though I will grab some, but I do want to make sure I select a lot of cinematic, a lot of photorealistic looking images, things that I know I spend a bulk of my time creating, something like this. Okay, I'm at the 99th percentile on the progress bar. Let's see what my last image is going to be. I like this right here. Okay, it wants me to do more. Let's see. We'll see what else. Okay, well, cool. It says personalization profile unlocked. It's available now in the profile section of the sidebar. And again, you can continue adding more ratings by clicking continue personalizing, or you can just say start creating. That's what I'm going to do right now, just with what I had initially. But you can find all of your personalizations under this tab right here on the left. And again, we've got our personalization on, and here is where I can rename it. I'm just going to say initial V8 global profile. Like that, and it says profile unlocked. And again, if I came here and just did more, then I guess it somehow gets added to profile. As you can see, the points are starting to accumulate as I add more to this personalization. But again, I'm not going to do all of that in this video. Just wanted to give you an idea of how this process works. Now, one other thing that I want to point out is you see right here where it says no creations found. That's because I've not created anything using this profile yet. But as you can see right here where it says V7 profiles, you see some previews of the images that I created under my old profile. So once I start creating with this, then this should start populating. And again, if we go to the create tab, you can see those same preview images showing up right here. So I know it's going to work. I just want to go ahead and point that out in case I never come back here to say, oh, look, you know, I was right. Here's everything that I'm starting to create under this new profile. So the easiest way to test out the new image model is really to just go and re-roll some of the prompts that you've already had done in the past with Midjourney. And the way you would do that is simply doing something like clicking on an old or a previous prompt that you've used. And one of the things that you would want to do is to make sure your settings look correct. So for instance, I do want this one in 2:3 aspect ratio. I actually want to use HD. We have 8.2 selected by default, which is the latest version. And I like to generate in RAW. And if you want to know the difference in the two, you can always just click right here and it tells you that right there. I've gone over this in previous videos. And the other thing I do is I don't really change this too much. The stylization is at 100 by default. The weirdness is at 0 and the variety is at 0. You can always tweak this, but I've found that I've gotten what I am after generally just using this setting right here. For those of you who are more experimental than I care to be at times, definitely tweak this to see how it turns out. And I like to generate things in fast mode because I just like my generations to appear faster so that I can move on to the next thing that I'm trying to do. And what's interesting is that these generations happen really quickly, like in seconds. And I was surprised because again, this is the latest image model and the generations, they just appear like lightning. And I'm going to try to talk through this while it's about to generate, just because if I take this into my initial editing process using recut, it's going to cut out any silence. So I have to keep talking while it happens in order for it to not cut out. And in terms of personalization, we need to click here and make sure that we have the correct global profile set. And again, we just ran through setting up version 8. So this is what we've got here. And you can always turn this on and off. But honestly, if you went through all of that, I don't know why you would not use it. Maybe if you just want to see the difference using your own personalization versus using what Midjourney has. And I don't have any mood boards, so I'm not going to do anything with that. And again, I'm just going to click submit, and I'm going to try to keep talking just to show you how fast these things turn up. It's like seconds. I'm talking more just to show you how fast this goes. Keep going. Look, it's already done pretty much. It's happened very fast. Boom. Okay, there we go. So you see the generations are happening very quickly, and that's pretty awesome. I don't know how much longer it would take in relaxed mode, but I'm assuming it's going to be fast as well. Now, in terms of aesthetics, let's just kind of look at some of the generations that we got. This is one of them that just happened under the new global profile that I just created. Here's one that probably looks more like something that would actually able to use. This one is okay. I don't know about this one right here. This is one that I created using my global version 7 profile, but also Midjourney version 8.2. This one looks kind of weird. As you can see, it's got some issues going on right here with the hands, and then there's something going on with the eyes and face right here. I do not remember if these were made under the HD mode, and it may have not been because it says run batch as HD. And because of the fact that I had to switch it from SD to HD, it's kind of an indication that that's what was going on. Here's one under the same version 7 profile, but V8.2 global profile version 7. Not too bad. I still don't understand why they've got issues with the hands this far into versions. And one of the other things that I would say is sort of a weakness with Midjourney is that when you get images like this where maybe the character is not a close-up shot, sometimes you get these plastic looking type generations. Like, I don't know if I would honestly characterize this as photorealistic. I mean, it's close, but honestly guys, it's hit or miss. Like, you could see another generation and it looks a little bit better, like something like this. I would say this looks more like what I would expect in terms of the face. Probably this as well. This is something that would probably easily pass as a model on some type of Vogue magazine cover back in the day, right? I don't really see too much of a difference because this literally, again, reminds me of something that I would see on any glamour model type magazine. You know, if you're standing in line at the grocery store, you know, Vanity Fair or whatever magazine, I would say this is pretty close. And again, I would say I like the aesthetics of version 8.2 a lot because I went back and ran some of these prompts for some of the weapons that I've generated, because one of the things that I love to do is generate weapons in Midjourney and then use something like SREF 5.0 Pro or Nano Banana 2 and pair weapons with my AI character. And again, I think Midjourney just gives you better exaggerated weapons, especially if you're trying to go for like a futuristic type blaster, like something like this. You just have to look for things that don't make sense, like this grip right here. I mean, that obviously doesn't make any sense. You could probably take that into an image editor and just have it remove this section right here, because I would imagine if the trigger's right here, then your AI character would place their hand somewhere under this carriage, maybe even back here. So again, you just have to keep stuff like that in mind, but I think overall they do give you a better aesthetic when you're trying to do things like weapons. Again, here's some more images, and again, if you just look at the fingers, they're still struggling with that. Again, you can take something like this into Nano Banana 2 or SREF 5.0 Pro and have it clean it up, but that's just another added step, and it's just sad that we're still having issues like that so far into these versions. Again, look at this. This kind of looks crazy, but again, some of these were run as SD. Let's just try something right quick. I'm going to do this. So now it's going to run under version 8. Let me just check the settings right quick. So we've got HD, raw, and let's see if we could just get a better aesthetic if I rerun this. But I do want to also just point out things like this. Cinematic scenes are perfect with Midjourney, and I like to take scenes like these and place my AI characters in them as long as the scale works out perfectly. You've likely seen me do this in previous videos, but since I just re-rolled that other image, let me just try that again under this new global profile and doing it as an HD image. And another thing that you see that I've done here is I've clicked 16:9 because this is set by default at 2:3, and if I didn't do that, it would run this image as a 2:3 aspect ratio. I'm just gonna hit submit, and let's scroll to the top and see what we got. Oh my god, you guys see this right here. Sorry, while the prompt you entered was deemed safe, the generated image may fall outside of our community guidelines. So guys, what this is telling me is that whatever Midjourney ended up trying to generate, its own image model generated something that was deemed inappropriate. So it wasn't the prompt itself. We'll try it again. We'll see what happens. So again, maybe, you know, there was some kind of nudity that generated with this, and Midjourney's AI moderation stepped in. But you don't get charge credits for that, and it says right here, no fast hours will be charged. So let's just take a look at what we got. So I would say the hands maybe improved a bit, but that's still kind of a plastic look. I would say this may be a bit more better. That looks much more like an illustrated look. Kind of the same thing going on here, but the hands look a little bit better. Let's do something right quick. Let's do this, and let's turn personalization off, and let's see what happens when we just run it straight raw. So let's look at how this looks without my personalization. So this is the first generation, this is the next one, this is the next one, and this is that one. It's still got a bit of that shiny skin going on, but the hands do look better, and honestly, I don't know if there's much of a difference between that and my personalization, although you you can see there is a dramatic difference in terms of the actual aesthetic. But again, I would say out of all of those, this one probably looks the best. So again, it can be a bit hit or miss. And I honestly believe if I go and do a bit more personalization, which I do plan on doing, you know, going over to the personalization tab and rating more images that look a lot more like what I'm going for, then the model will have more data. And what I would focus on more is making sure I get some photorealistic faces, because I know that they're on Midjourney. They tend to happen more in the close-ups of the AI image if it's a human face or a human looking face, as well as any images that already have hands that look anatomically correct. Another thing that I want to call out that I've noticed in my testing is that the AI is very perceptive to your prompts, and I want to show you exactly what I mean. So if I go back down here and you see this prompt says professional character reference sheet, when I added this prompt in, you know, using the same version and using my personalization because I turned it back on, the images just kind of varied wildly. Like you see how you get kind of like a cartoonish look. And that is because what I found is I'm using that professional character reference sheet, which was not a problem in version 8.1, as I'll show you in just a second. So if you take a look at an image like this was version 8.1. We did it in HD with the version 7 global profile. It was also generated raw, and it did use an SREF, which is short for style reference. And we got something like this. That's just the way that version of Midjourney image model interpreted the prompt, and this aesthetic is not bad at all. But again, if you use that exact same prompt under the new image model, this is kind of the interpretation. But what I found is that once I took that part of the prompt out that talks about a character reference sheet, I started to get an aesthetic that was a lot more closer to what I expected when I said the term photorealistic. And again, it's following the prompt to the T. I have the white background. It's doing exactly that. These images look more like a real person, in my opinion. So again, let's just kind of zoom in on this. And yeah, I could work with something like this if I wanted to use the Midjourney image model. So again, just something to keep in mind. If you're not getting the look that you're after, try making tweaks to your prompt. And if anyone is wondering why, you know, the images still look like these 4 panels, even though I took the character reference part out, it's because I still wanted the images to come out that way. You see, I still have it saying arranged in 4 vertical columns, front view, full body image above, blah, 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 blah. I didn't really care how they turn out, you know, if they've got multiple AI characters in the same frame. It was just something that was an interesting prompt to me. It was nothing I was really going to use outside of just seeing how it turned out. So just FYI. The next update that I want to show you is something that I did not use in the past because I really didn't like the fact that you couldn't really do anything that was generated with draft mode, but they've made an improvement to draft mode that works a lot better. That's likely going to be something that you want to look into. And let me just show you what it looks like by going ahead and using the damn thing. So we're going to use the same prompt right here. All the settings are the same. HD, version 8.2, we're generating in raw, and personalization is set to my initial global profile for version 8, and we're just going to hit submit. Now, as you can see, there's going to be multiple panels of that same character, and you're going to get all of these draft generations. Now, what this does, it just gives you a general idea of a direction that you can go with your generation, but it's not the final look. This is a cheaper way just to pre-visualize how your prompt could turn out. So let's say I click on this, and this is the option it gives you. It says very subtle, because it's not going to give you the exact same image that generated here. So I'm going to do that, and I'm also going to do this one, and so it's going to generate 4 images of each, and these generations are going to be closer to your draft generation. So I'll do one more just to give you a general sense of this, and as we see, it's going to generate up here, and here's a look at how some of the generations turned out. And again, they're already in HD. You have to kind of look out for things, because like I wouldn't use this image right here just because of that thing covering her face. And again, you get more options to choose from using draft mode. But if you don't want to have this previs thing going on, then just make sure to turn that off like that. And the next time you generate, you'll just get a 4-panel output like we did initially. Now, I'm going to turn this back on because I want to show you the other update that worked with version 8.1. We'll have to to see if it's going to work with version 8.2, and that is SF Random, which stands for Style Reference Random, and you'll see how cool this is going to turn out if it works if you do this in draft mode. So we're just going to type SREF Random, we're going to hit generate, and this is the output that you get that already has multiple different style references already baked in. So what this does, this saves you some time on trying to figure out what's the best style reference. I mean, it's still pretty cool if you end up finding some as you're just kind of browsing Midjourney, but you know, I'll do something like this and something like this and something like this just to see what I get out of this. And this is what the output looks like. Here's one that has sort of a retro anime look to it. Not too bad. This one is just a general animated aesthetic. It's not too bad if that's the vibe that you were going for. And this one, it looks pretty cool, but her face is darkened. So I don't know that I would use this for anything, just because it's generally a moody overall cinematic look, which is fine. But again, if you didn't already have this as your AI character reference and you try to use this as your AI character reference going forward for different scenes, it may not work out just because this is not good data. And maybe you can use a prompt in Nano Banana 2 or Dream 5.0 Pro and just say, hey, relight her face or relight this scene, and that may actually work out to where it gives you something that doesn't look like this. Again, if I just wanted to just kind of show this off on an X post or something, I would use this. But again, if you try to use this outside of something portraying this, then you've got the hair in the face, so that could cause issues. But outside of that, I like the look. So again, that's another way to quickly iterate through various different style references to get different looks of your initial prompt. And of course, if I reran this, which I'll just do right now, it's going to be a completely different random set of SREFs. Now, another thing that I want to test out is when they had version 8.1 out, you could use the preview flag and it would allow you to see version 8.2 gens, but I'm not positive if this preview flag, which again, we're now on 8.2. I don't know that it necessarily points to something like a version 8.3, but we'll see if the flag works. And no, it says no features are currently in preview. So we've got our answer for that. And again, this is just version 8.2. The preview flag has been depreciated because once again, on version 8.1, it allowed you to see version 8.2 before it finally released. Now that version 8.2 is out, the preview flag does not point to a version 8.3. Hope that makes sense. Now let's talk about how to actually prompt Midjourney, because I do get asked this question in the comments. Some of you find Midjourney to be a bit challenging, and I'm going to show you a very super simple way to ideate through prompts so that it doesn't seem so intimidating. And the very first thing you can do is just go to the Explore tab by clicking here, and what you'll just see are a lot of generations from people who are creating things on the Midjourney platform. And if you see something that you like, all you have to do is click something like this, and you'll see the parameters that they're using and that they're also using some style references. So this may not be a good image to try to remix because they've got a lot going on here. It won't be as exact as what they're doing. Let's see if we can find something a bit more simplistic. And here's one. It says small figure of an explorer in a glowing magical garden surrounded by forest, sky, waterfall, underfield stars, blah, blah, blah. We're just going to take the prompt because you can see that they've got some other stuff going on. Like if I take this SREF, and if I take the profile, if I take the chaos, if I take the stylized, let's just go ahead and do it. We're going to take everything that they're using here. I've already got this. So you can see this guy is using, or this person is using various different settings. This is the aspect ratio. Chaos is just if you came here, and that is either weirdness or variety. I forget which one, but these are the parameters that they're using. Let's just see how close we get to that on our end. So I just submitted that, and hey, that didn't work out too bad. So if you look at this, this is what we got as a generation, and I like this. If this is something that I wanted to, post and show off, doesn't look too bad. So again, just keep that in mind. I likely only got this look because I copied all of the settings that this person was using. If we were to just do something like this, it's going to default to my profile, and it's also going to default back to version 8.2. Again, you see right right here, this person was using version 8.1, and these generations look vastly different than what we got using the same parameters as the other person, but these could also have some interesting looks as well. So if we were to only use the raw prompt, this is something that we would get out of that, and it's something that you may want to keep in mind. And honestly, this follows the prompt a bit more, where it says an immense code and information megastructure defining the scale. This looks a lot like, you know, some kind of megastructure with code and information. This has a different interpretation of that when you add all of the other parameters, but I do like this surreal look. So again, you know, there are multiple ways to do this, and again, you would want to start at the Explore tab, and if you did something like click For You, you'll see images as well as videos more tailored to your ratings of other generations on the platform, and like all of these look stunning. Like this is exactly to my taste, so keep that in mind. And you know, this is the video side obviously, but you know, if you put it on images, these look pretty cool as well. It's tailored more to my aesthetic. You can go for random, you know, if you see a prompt right here and you see that there's not a bunch of things going on with this one, so this should be more closer to the prompt itself. Just note that they're using version 8.1. They've got a tab for hot and top day, which is what was the default in one of the generations that I showed you. So these are the top posts of the day, and it also has a tab that saves the images that you click like on. And again, all you would do is click here, that shows up. You can also use the image as a reference. You can also use the style, and you can also pull in all of this. But you know, I don't know if you're overloading it by doing this and adding all of this stuff. Let's just see without adding any other parameters other than maybe the aspect ratio, the version, and the chaos. And let's see what we get if we do something like this. And I would say it's somewhat close, but I think I'd be interested in checking this out by adding all of the other parameters the person had on their image. But again, this is one way to go about it. The other thing you can do is, if you are a student in the AI Cinematographer's Playbook, then make sure that you check out the Airtable database that I gave you guys, because I've already got some prompts in here that are prompts that I've crafted and tailored that really just capture that cinematic look if you were wanting to do things with Midjourney. And these are images that I've created with previous versions of Midjourney, but as you can see, this aesthetic is amazing, and if you just carry it forward with the newer versions, then you'd likely get something even more stunning. But this is just to give you an idea of how you could get started. Some of the genres that I like film noir, space science fiction, retro futuristic. I've also got some SREFs that I like that turned out pretty amazing aesthetically, and these are just some of the things that you can check out to see how they turn out on your end. And if you're not a student in the AI Cinematographer's Playbook, then I've got a pretty amazing deal for you. Right now, all of my channel members receive up to 25% off on all of our training, and YouTube has it set up so that you can actually become a channel member. They're going to give you an entire month free as my channel member. At least that's the promo that's going on right now, and this would allow you to get the discount code and get up to 25% off of the AI Cinematographer's Playbook, which also has a Notion guide that goes even further into explaining the concepts of how I've learned to prompt Midjourney in order to get very aesthetically pleasing generations. And again, you're also going to get access to this database that I update as I come across awesome prompts and SREFs. I also add notes to the database. So again, this would be another way to get started with Midjourney prompting. In fact, the person who asked that question is actually a channel member and enrolled in the AI Cinematographer's Playbook. So just be sure to check out the database. And again, if you're not a student, then be sure to become a channel member so that you can get up to 25% off. Or if you don't want to become a channel member, then all you have to do is go below the video, click the link or scan the QR code on your screen, and you can enroll into the AI Cinematographer's Playbook, which also has a lot of other video training on the topic of how to make and monetize AI filmmaking. Go ahead and enroll today. So what are you guys' thoughts? Is Midjourney still leading the pack when it comes to that aesthetic that you literally can't find anywhere else? Are you still using Midjourney? And if not, does this new update entice you to resubscribe to Midjourney? Or if you're not using Midjourney, is this an AI image model that you're going to check out to use for your own AI cinematic productions? Be sure to let me know in the comments below this video. And as always, if you got anything out of this AI image model review, then be sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel, because when you do both, not only do you let YouTube know that you enjoy video reviews of the newest AI image and video models like this, but it also lets YouTube know that you want to be alerted when we upload the next one. So once again, my name is Paul Donis Maximus. Thanks for checking out this video. Please join me in the next one.